Welcome to Military Faith and Spiritual Resilience. This is Elizabeth Fulgaro. With me is Erin Nichols, nutritional and fitness coach and Gold Star wife. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. You've really been sharing your love story.
Yeah.
Your love story with your husband. And at the end of the last episode, you were sharing his passing.
Mm-hmm.
What else should we know about Sam?
Much earlier, I talked about him having this, he was a warrior.
Yes.
In any, that inner warrior. He was also extremely chivalrous. That's another kind of like born at a different time. He would practically knock me over to open a door for me. Even after he was hurt. I would tell him, my friends and I are going to go on this bike ride, or we're going to go hike, run in Marin, or whatever it was. And he'd say, do you need a ride?
Oh.
Having no realization that he couldn't provide that. Or I'd be like, all right, I need to go get some food. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Do you need cash?
So he's taking care of you.
Yeah. He would still try to do things like open the door, or he's always had his arm around me. His right arm was the arm he could move, and I would typically stand on his right side, and that arm would just immediately be around me, often lower than my back as well. his favorite part. He adored me, and anybody who saw him, who, they didn't know him, they didn't know us prior to his injury, they knew that I was his everything. And no other significant other, wife, has ever known with the degree of certainty that I know that their husband loved them more than anything and was truly cherished.
There's almost nothing more beautiful than that.
Yeah.
So where does that put you now? What's going on now? Because you were going to balance this business with Sam,
Mm-hmm.
right? So where are you now?
So it's been about 1.5 years since Sam passed, and about 2 years really that I've been focusing on the business, but that really kind of didn't ramp up until a few months after he died, because before I didn't need my own income, and now I do.
His income stopped then when he passed.
Most of it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the number is like 13%.
That's left?
Yeah.
Oh.
Something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a drop in the bucket, but it's an appreciated drop. So now my focus is on helping women in particular live to thrive. And that's kind of the mentality that I have about what I want for people, because your idea of thriving is going to change over the course of your life. And Sam and I saw this before he got hurt. I think before we got married, we made a promise to each other. His parents are overweight. We both had some family members who had either just because they were overweight, there were a certain diagnosis, whatever it was, there was kind of this just like existing that happened.
So they couldn't thrive.
Right. Or at least in our perspective, it didn't look like they were thriving.
That's very fair.
That's exactly what they wanted to do, and cool for them.
Yes.
But that didn't look like thriving to us. And so we made a promise to each other never to let each other get fat. And of course, this is our like 18, 19-year-old verbiage, and never to stop trying. Because that's what it really meant, is never to stop trying, never stop living and just existing. Coming home from work, sitting down on the couch, plate balancing on the belly. We didn't want that. And so we made that promise to each other. And that was part of me kind of when I got into fitness, that was like, okay, this is this part that I can continue to do. I have control over my body, how it looks and feels. And that's what I want other people to be able to realize as well. So regardless of your circumstance, whether it's a challenging life circumstance or it's a diagnosis of some sort, there's always something that we can do to improve your quality of life. We might not be able to cure whatever is happening. His mom, for example, has rheumatoid arthritis. There's no cure for rheumatoid arthritis, but there are certain lifestyle choices that you can make that's going to make your experience of that RA a lot worse, or is going to really improve your quality of life. And so there are some things that she's done in the last many years that have improved her quality of life. And so that she has fewer bad days. When she has a bad day, they're not as severe, and she has a lot more good days. And so she's not as debilitated with her RA as she once was. And that goes for all sorts of things. I mean, there are diseases, type 2 diabetes for the most part is a completely lifestyle disease. It is reversible. And you don't have to suffer if you don't want to. And that's the part that I want to be able to help people with, whether it is simply you are uncomfortable with your body weight and the way that you look in the mirror and the way that you feel and you want to change, or there is actually something maybe more significant medically happening. We can still make improvements, and there's a lot we can do from the lifestyle perspective. Your nutrition, your sleep, your stress management, your movement, to make you feel better. And when you feel good, you usually look pretty good too.
What I like about what you do is that you don't try to put everybody in a box and say, here's the formula for what that person needs to do. You listen to the person, you find out what their goals are, and then you are looking for those incremental, where is the improvement reasonable and fits what this person wants to achieve. Say more about that, because I don't think I'm giving it a good enough description.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's only one way to lose weight. You have to be in a caloric deficit. If you've ever lost weight, regardless of the method, it's because you were in a caloric deficit, which means that you were burning more calories than you consumed. But there are infinite number of ways to achieve that. So, if you lost weight on keto, if you lost weight intermittent fasting, if you lost weight doing Weight Watchers, if you lost weight walking an hour a day, you lost weight because you were in a caloric deficit. And so the method that we use to get that outcome, that weight loss outcome, has to work for you as an individual. You need to enjoy it. You need to want to be able to do it basically for the rest of your life. Not that you're always going to be like in a fat loss phase, but you can't just like flip a switch and be like, okay, I'm in weight loss mode, and then flip it back and go back to the way you were. It has to be sustainable, which means that it has to work for you, your values, and your lifestyle. It has to be practical and sustainable. So, a 35-year-old single woman who has her job and her dog, her experience of wanting to get the body she wants is going to be very different than the mom with 3 kids. And maybe one of those kids has special needs. Those are very, very different. They both need a caloric deficit in order to get the body that they want. But how they go about achieving those, that is going to look very different. And it's going to be different from the 62-year-old who's been dieting on and off for the last 40 years as well. And now she's trying to be a grandma that can get on the floor with the grandkids and play.
So this isn't a program where it's commercials, right, or sponsorships or anything, but really if any listener wanted to reach out to you, where do they find you?
Probably the easiest way would be Instagram @Reformed Health Coach. There's a whole story behind the business name there, Reformed Health Coach, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, that's probably the best way. My email is the same. It's just reformedhealthcoach@gmail.com. If you wanted to do that. And then there's even on Instagram, if you go to the link in my bio, you can just schedule a free consultation from there as well.
So they learn more if they want to.
Yep.
So where's your faith now? Where's your relationship with God at this point in your journey?
I'd like to give you a different answer.
No, I want the honest answer because you've been on a journey.
Yeah, I know. When we kind of pre-gamed yesterday, and I figured I would just let today be organic. I've been struggling.
That's fair, Erin. That's fair. And he's okay with that.
Yeah.
Are there any things that you're finding that help you get through your days besides working on your business?
People. Community, yeah. That's been really big. I work out of a co-working space now.
Okay.
In historic Folsom. Right across the parking lot, sharing a parking lot with the Lake Natoma Inn where we had our wedding night. And the people there, they're a huge part of my life now. Many of whom, as well, are Christians. Which makes a big difference. Connecting with my clients and like prospective clients is huge. Like I can't tell you the high that I get when I get off the phone with a client or a free consultation. I do just that connection to that person. Hopefully I've said something, whether they're going to work with me or not. Hopefully I've said something, given them some value that they're going to be able to take and improve their life with. I've been doing a lot of, I guess on the kind of like self-development kind of thing. And I can honestly tell you, I'm, full circle right back where I realized early on as a baby Christian, I'm trying to do all the right things, the right combination of things to get God to do my will. I'm kind of in a different loop right now where I'm just kind of avoiding God and I'm trying to be self-reliant. And so I'm trying to do all these things, do all these practices, whatever. And it's not really working. Which, and
not a surprise,
yeah,
right?
I mean, like intellectually I can tell you that and I know that and it's like duh. But yeah, right now it's like the connection isn't there.
Well, I would think that you're still in pretty deep grief. So there's seasons like that.
Yeah.
And the wonderful thing about God is that he knows. And he loves you exactly where you are. And he knew that you would be here. And so he's got his arm around you like Sam did, right? And it's okay that if you can't talk to him right now, or you just can't even look at him right now, because there also might be thoughts on your mind and questions that are uncomfortable to even consider going to him with.
And it's nowhere near even like a angry at God that this is my circumstance, or not believing anything like that. It's I think apathy is probably the best way to put it, which scares me.
Okay.
It has me questioning. The like nuggets of like hope that I get are like the fear and the worry I get about that. Like I don't want to be not feeling in the way that I'm not feeling.
Yeah.
So that part gives me hope that, okay, this is just a season. I have some amazingly faithful people in my life. The wife of the pastor that I told you that came to visit every week to
Yes.
Sam. Every single day without fail, she sends scripture.
That's amazing.
I read it this morning. I read it at the gas station before I left. But it was kind of a long one this morning. But there are a lot of days that I see that text and I open it and then I exit out of it and go on with my day. There are some days that I really read it. Some days she'll take a picture of maybe like a book she's reading or something too. And I mean, she has my number. I know. There was a picture the other day that she sent me from a book. She knows exactly where I am. And I know he does too. And it's just a matter of connecting again.
Is there a risk to connecting?
Probably.
Something that you perceive?
I'm probably, in that defense mode again,
Well,
It's my, SOP. Protect.
what do you think it would take? And you may not know because you're in that place, right? What do you think it might take to open a crack?
That's what scares me because it took my husband getting blown up and our lives changing to get us saved to begin with. So even the thought of praying about it, like, be careful what you wish for, kind of, like it almost makes me fear for my family. Because the thought of what would it take, I don't want it to have to take another losing a life or catastrophic illness or injury to bring me back to my knees.
Those are really real thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? Sounds like one day at a time.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting, if I can insert, I think we've talked about it already. God had you launch this business before Sam died.
Yeah.
You were up, starting, rolling, beginning to see clients, finding your way, right? I mean, that's just how starting a business works, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was put in place before he passed.
Yeah. I had something.
You had something. And so my experience is in those seasons when you can't connect, he's still connecting and he's still carrying you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not mad at you for needing the space, or he's not mad at you for having the walls up a little bit right now because I heard you were human.
Wait, what?
I know, right? So I heard you can't be perfect, and I heard that you're going to reach limits, and it, so I think that I have confidence that he can bring you to a place gently where you feel safe enough to open yourself again without a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to thank you for coming and sharing your heart and being so vulnerable to share really what's gone on inside you. I want to thank you for sharing Sam because he needs to be known for the amazing person, right? That he was throughout.
Yes.
Throughout, no matter what. And, I love you and that you'll always be in my prayers and we'll stay connected. So thank you again for being here and for sharing for the listeners, Erin.